Hello. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another stream of game development. Where we develop games. At least we try. Hello. Hi. Hello, Maui. Sometime I don't see you, or maybe. Maybe. How are you? So, today I was thinking. So yesterday we finished the faction script. Now there is some work that needs to be done by setting people and rules people. Namely, Eonwind and Zona are the two that are working on it, and I hope they can move on, and so that we can use our script, the script that I made, you know, to actually. You had a night shift? Ah, okay. I see. And so yeah, I mean, we worked a bit on that and we finished it, I would say. So that part, I would say, is pretty good at the moment and is working. We created this PHP script, you know, which is doing what we need, and we will launch it when we execute the migration to actually migrate all the factions taken from the quest. Now, one thing I was reasoning on is to restart the discussion on the chest and the randomized chest. And again, as usual, when I'm, you know, streaming, I'm not doing a lot of preparation for it. So I just decided it like 5 minutes ago. So I need to think about it a bit. But the point is that today we have different ways to actually randomize chest content, and I think we need a bit more. We need more tools, or anyway more possibilities to randomize chest, right? So I don't know if I think we should analyze our options, right? We should analyze our option, understand how we want to build it, because there are already some capabilities today. And I think this goes into ant locations and natural resources, even if at the moment is not exactly done this way for our chest. So basically, there are certain special chests, right? That are. I think we need to create a new. Yes, I think we need to create a new chapter here. Let's call it chests. Now, chest may also be something different than chest. I mean, maybe chest and containers. Basically, every container. I'm thinking. Which kind of do we have a mission for chest already? No, I don't think so. We never had a mission for chest. I mean, we have chest, but not a real mission on it. Do we have a loot? Do we have a loot mission? Probably not. Yeah, I think we can call it loot. Even if, you know, loot includes a number of things. Includes creatures loot and potentially random generated loot. And yeah, but yes, I think it's a good point anyway. I think it's a good point. I think, how do I? Okay. Yeah, there is this new editor, which in theory is super cool, but sometimes is harder than... Okay, we will just call it loot. Okay, so what do we want to describe then? Due to sickness of people, it got enhanced, so I'm back after later than next week, and then some normal one. Oh, okay, I see. I see. Let me switch my screen here. I think Patreon we are 53 or 54. Probably 53. Let me update it. We reached 60 again, but then we went back to 50. And now we are going up again. So, so basically the idea here is to describe how do we configure loot in PlaneShift today. Okay, so how do you get loot? Now, you can get loot, so you can get loot through a number of methods, right? So basically through quests, right? Through quests we have the possibility to reward players, right? The problem of rewarding players through quest, I think that we can do it only with a give item, right? Is there any other chance that we can do? Let me think about it. Let me think, because this game, I mean, our game is starting to become so big that sometimes I don't even know what it can do, you know? Sometimes I forget what the hell we can do. Let me go quest syntax, right? Because I think I added the quest syntax script. Yeah, exactly. I want to see when we say give, I think there is a kind of a give player. No? What is happening on my PC? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My PC decided to freeze. Okay. So give more than 2 items. Give 1 letter X plus go. Give 1 an X. Give 1 apple. You can also add a number if you need to give more than 1 item. Example, give 5 iron ingot. It's not necessarily the case of 1 item including numerical. However, it could price to numerical. Blah 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 blah. Even though special case must be declared in the script. Another option is to give an item or another. The following will pop up a window in which the player can choose 1 item. Give cold or arrow or energy. Exactly. Okay. Wow, that's pretty good, actually. So, through quest, we have the possibility to reward players with... Oh my god, what is going on in my browser now? Is the browser that is stuck, or is the... There is something going on in my browser that is not responding anymore. Okay, let me close all the freaking windows. What is going on? It's not responding anymore. Is this editor that is acting weird, or I don't know? It seems there is something that is running that is not okay. True question. The possibility to reward players items or money. Right, so okay. And now in this case we cannot give randomized, right? So at the moment it's not possible. This cannot be randomized. The fact that it cannot be randomized, I think, is a bit annoying. I think it would be much better if it could be randomized, you know? Randomized meaning the same way we randomize weapons when looting creatures. At the moment it's not possible. Hello, Tony. A long time I don't see you. How are you? Also, Maui returned today. So today is the day of the returns. It's the day of their reunion. Interesting stuff. Okay, at the moment it cannot be randomized. I think we want it to be randomized, but at the moment it cannot, right? Now, another way is harvesting loot items from what we call natural resources, right? Or natural, yeah. So if I go hunt locations and natural resources, yes. So another way, so harvesting loot item from hunt location and natural resources, which spawn items on the ground or allow you to dig for items, right? Now the question: can these ones be randomized? Can these ones be randomized? That's a good question. I don't think so, because I think we are pointing to... Can we... Wait. PS Wiki. Okay. Can this be randomized? Well, actually, the way it happens is that we use I think we have directly the item ID. Yeah, item ID reward. So this item ID reward is pretty much fixed, right? So it's one item, and so it cannot be randomized. That's another annoying part. It cannot be randomized. We randomize the time. We randomize the time by not... wait a second. I'm changing the music. It's good to be back. Yeah, it's good to have you back. And yeah, but I didn't stop meanwhile, so we did a lot of stuff meanwhile, and we improved the game quite a bit. So basically also here we cannot randomize, right? So you can harvest loot items from another location at a resource, you spawn on the ground, allow you to dig for items. At the moment this cannot be randomized, so at the moment only the quality changes. Only the quality changes when harvesting, right? Then, so there's another way to get loot. The third way to get loot, which is the most common, let's say, is killing monsters, right? So killing monsters or creatures or whatever, killing creatures, right? And if you kill a creature, we are actually generating his loot from, let me see if I can find it somewhere, because I don't think I have it described anywhere. No, I don't have it described anywhere. I don't have it, but anyway, is inside, well, it's actually using a number of tables. So basically character as NPC loot category ID. Which I think is actually the one that is used, right? I don't know why it's saying use to add additional looting category for this character. Why additional? I mean, you mean additional because wait, NPC. Okay, let me just check one thing because I don't remember. I don't remember how it works, so I need to check it again. So I'm 1 second on another screen. I'm just clicking on NPC. I'm selecting whatever. I'm selecting Echo Empty. Or I'm selecting one of our bosses, which is even more interesting, I guess. And if I select one of our bosses, there is loot rule. Yes, this loot rule is the one that is pointing to. So let me check. Okay, I found the NPC. So if I go characters and I go ID equal to this, and I search is loot exactly. So yeah, it's this field. It's exactly this field. I don't know why it's called additional because I don't understand it, but this is the only loot category that we have in the game, which is actually 70. Yeah, it's pointing to 70 exactly. Okay, so basically, hello, hi, who joined? Hello, Shantanu. Thank you for the subscription on YouTube. So basically, the point is that the way we are, so killing creatures, right? Killing creatures will allow players to loot. Loot is defined in characters dot this thing field, which points to. So let me just link this because I think we can. I think we can link this to characters table. Character table. No. Characters table. Yes, exactly. So we can link it there. So this one is then pointing to another table, which is the one that is defining all the loot for our characters, for our creatures and characters, which is loot rules, right? And so here, loot rules, we will have an ID 70, right? Which is the one of our bosses, and then which points to loot rules ID, right? Which points to loot rules ID, and then to loot details table. Okay, so let me just link all this stuff so we have it done properly. So this one is loot rules table, and this one is loot details table. Okay, so it will be a bit easier to find it later on. Loot, what is the name of the table? Loot underscore rule underscore details. Okay. And loot rules. Okay, so basically in this now the good part is that in this table we can actually randomize. So this is the only place where we can really randomize, because here for the specific ID, for the specific loot rule ID, like 70, right, we can specify different items that you can loot, and we can specify if this item is randomized. You see, it is randomized 1. So when randomized is 1, it means that this one will get a special effect, a special modifier. And there is also probability on the randomization. So for example, you have 5% or 1%, right? There is like 5% that this one will be randomized. Okay, so here we can control the list of items, to be spawned or to be given to, the list of items and the percentage of chance to be random, right? But we have anyway the percentage of chance on anything, because there is a probability, right? This is the probability, the randomization, the randomized probability. So all this is all done and is working fairly well. Okay, anyway, we can look in those tables. Now, there is another way that you can get loot. Which is a bit of a special one. So we have special chest, right? So special chests are chests that we introduced more recently, and these chests are declared as consumable, which is a bit stupid if you want to, but it is what it is. And these chests are declared inside, for example, the only thing I don't remember is I think they are specific item instances inside action locations. So I think is a inside ant location. So I think is actually a subset of ant location. Yes, I think so. Because we have, for example, so if I search name like chest, right? We have, for example, I don't know, wide chest, ancient chest, right? These are the ones that are randomized. You see that they are consumable, which is a bit strange, but it's what they are. So these are the ones that are actually generating random loot. And this, if I search this number 7082, right, which is the ID, on hunt locations, I think I will find it. So I think it should be a subset of, yeah, if I search item ID equal to this, yeah, you see? We find two. So there are two places in the game where these chests are getting spawned, right? And these are special items. I don't know if there are others, but flag. I can try where flags like consumable, but the problem is that this will generate 1,000,000 items. I can maybe order by ID, but I think it will not be very easy to find. Ah, yes, there are also some that are called crate, so it's not only chest, it's also crate, yes. Yes, it's basically all these ones, right? Ardent crate, adorned crate, sturdy chest, metal chest, reinforced chest, white chest, ancient chest. So these are the ones that we are using to generate. Okay, so let me maybe put it as a sub bullet of this guy, right? So we have special chests declared as consumable, right? At the moment the list is I can say this is the current list of items, right? And we can say, we can put all these ones in the list just to say, hey, these are the ones that, right? What? Okay. And these chests are declared as consumable, and then they have associated, right, a specific script. So these have a special consume script, which is actually declared in what? Declared in, yes, consume script, you see. So it's declared in item stats consume script, item stats dot consume script, and if you want we can also point to the right table because we have it. Item stats table, yes, exactly. We have a special consume script stored in item stats consume script, which is pointing to a progression script. It is called, in this case, it's called treasure chest, right? It's called treasure chest, and treasure chest I think is a progression event, if I remember right. Yes, so it's pointing to progression events, to a progression event named treasure chest, right? And progression event also we can link it because we have progression event table, right? Named treasure chest. Now, what is happening whenever you are, so when the player is using or consuming the chest, a specific script is triggered, which is this one, which is actually generating the items for you. So this is the way it works, right? The thing I don't like about this is that it's basically a giant script to do pretty much the same that we already do with the difference is that in this script we also have a base cost, right? So the base cost is multiplied by 2. So there is some more logic into this because actually you see this base cost variable. This base cost variable is coming from the base sale item price. Wait, let me do consume script like treasure. Okay, so now we have only the ones that we want to see, right? So this is based on the price. This one, exactly, base price, right? So it's taking the base price of the item and then is using it to generate different items based. Now, this may be completely useless if we make it more dynamic. So because my idea is, can we make this system a bit more dynamic and so allow to point directly to the loot categories like we do for normal loot, so that you don't have to create a special script and change the script all the time, but you can just say, you know, this particular chest is providing that particular loot. And the advantage of that is that our loot system is already scaling based on the strength of the character that is finding the loot. You know, maybe you are not aware of it, but that is the way it works. So the stronger you are, the better loot you get. So I think that my point is, if we could scale it, because this thing is not really scalable, right? This script at the moment is not scalable. This thing is not scalable. Is just providing a fixed amount of items, right? Always. So if I mean, we can change the script obviously if we want, but So my idea is that we can make this obsolete if we do it the proper way. That would be my idea. Now, does have a yeah? So this is special. Okay. Yes. The script is looking at the base price and scaling rewards accordingly, right? Accordingly. But the point is that is doing this in a kind of a static way, right? While I think it would be better if I could associate to a specific chest a loot ID, and so we just work with the loot ID. I think would be a bit better. I mean, it's not a big change, but now another way that you can get loot will be through generated events, right? Generated events will spawn. So generated events may spawn merchants with special goods to sell. Or may spawn creatures with, you know, special loot tables, or may spawn chest, right? I don't know if I want to have a generated event that is just spawning a chest, but the point is that maybe it can spawn it can spawn a small puzzle, you know. It can be a, I don't know exactly what it would be, but it can be a, yeah, but anyway, it can spawn chest or puzzles or whatever. It can spawn it can spawn chest or puzzles, providing reward, giving rewards, you know. Now in this case, I mean, in the first case, we just go back to our NPC, to our NPC management. So this one is basically nothing different. If it's inside the generated event, I don't have to do anything different. I just need to create an NPC with a specific inventory, and you will be able to, you know, buy or sell from that specific NPC. This one is pretty much the same. Maybe the difference is that I want to associate to a creature a new loot table, and so the creature will be generating different loot just because it's inside that generated event, right? And the third one basically goes back to this point, 2.1, because it can be pretty much, you know. So this one is C.2 above, no, 0.3 above. This one is C.2.1 above, right? Yes. So my question is it's a very important question, boys. It's a very important question, because we need to define if what we have today is good enough or not, right? And So I'm just checking some random messages. So the important question is, are these methods good enough for us or not? Okay, so that's the basic question. So this is the way players get loot into the game, right? That is the basic way to get loot through the game. There are no other ways, to my knowledge. Well, you can buy from merchants. Yeah, maybe I can say, okay, let's do this. Buy from merchants, right? So merchants are defined, merchants have items in their bulk inventory. So any item defined in the inventory of a NPC flagged with, I think it's flagged with merchant categories. So you have inside character, there is NPC. Merchant item categories. Yes, this table. So any item define any item present in the inventory of an NPC in a bulk slot, right? Can be bought if the NPC is a merchant. Right? That is defined in table this thing, merchant item categories. Is defined in this. Is defined in table merchant item categories, where all item categories are listed for this NPC. So merchant item category table, exactly. So okay, so going back to our discussion, this one C point for above, right? If you want to put them in the same sequence, just because we like it, I can put it in the same sequence. So yeah, random generated events can spawn special chests, can spawn specific creatures that can be killed, and it goes into this, or can spawn merchants which go into this. Okay. Okay, my basic problem, and is what I want to discuss today, and is what I'm reasoning on at the moment, right? Is that let's say we have a cave, right? We have a cave of some kind, and this cave has, you know, different rooms and whatever. So there is the entrance. Now in this cave I can place, you know, kind of barriers, like I can place you know, gates and I can place some blockers, you know, doors and things like that, and that's fine. This is all stuff that we can do already. But my main issue is, how do I generate a chest or a pouch or whatever? So a container, right? In general, a container with loot that can be interesting to people, and so that people come back here regularly to see if there is something good, right? So we need a way to place a chest. Now we already have ways to place a chest, which is what I was describing now in this page, right? So we can do this. We can use hunt locations, and I can define that in this particular place I have an hunt location which is generating one of the hardened crates, and the hardened crate is pointing to this script which is randomly generating stuff, right? The only problem of that is that it's generated only when I'm consuming the chest, which is a bit stupid, but that's what it is. Another way would be wow, Tetris music, always nice. Up, 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 yeah. So the other way to generate the chest would be to generate. So I'm trying to understand which options I have, okay? And at the moment this seems the most reasonable option that we have. Another option would be that I really generate an item with all the stuff inside until it's picked up, right? Or until it is opened. Now the problem is that I will have to expand somehow because at the moment this thing is generating an item like you would drop it. It is generating an item in the same way as you would drop it. The problem is that I would like to generate a chest which is not a standard item but is an interactable item, for example, right? So how do I generate an interactable wait a second. I have a sense of deja vu and I did this already. So under traps, right? Under traps placed on a spawnable item. Example, a chest. In this case, the item needs to be flagged as is trapped in the item instance flag, and then the same set of property of type 2 above are set on the item traps table. Are set on the items traps table, which I guess is a new table that I added, right? In fact, it doesn't exist in production at the moment. At least not in the copy I have in production. Where the hell is item traps? What? Item traps table? Did I do it at the end or not? It was just an idea. Fuck. We didn't do it. It's called traps properties, actually. Ah, okay. So it's the name of the table that is wrong, but it's traps properties. So I think we should have a traps properties. Okay, here it is. We have a traps properties, and I don't know if I created it also Yes, we did. Okay, good. Okay, so let me update this because this is wrong. We need to create this this new table, huh? I don't know if I want to put it under items, but yeah, maybe under items. I think we can add a new table which is called traps properties. And I mean, just to document it, because in reality it is trap properties table, right? And we're gonna save this. And traps properties table is so traps properties table is defined this way. Is defined. Maybe I can just copy it from here. This is simpler. But anyway, is an ID. Int 10, right? Primary key, auto increment. Then we have an item instance ID. And there is a pointer to the item, blah, blah, blah. And this item instance ID is also an int 10. And then we have an action location ID, which is also an int 10. And this one is a pointer to the action location in case the trap is on a proximity trigger. Okay, and then we have the trap script. Enable the progression script to run when the trap is triggered. Okay, why I'm doing this? Because I want to understand what I need to do on my chest. Then there is trap blocking use. There is a boolean, so it's a tiny 4. And I don't know, defaults here, I really didn't place any defaults, but it's fine. The default is 0 here. Then we have the trap strength, which is a number. Is another tiny 4. And the default is 50. And this one is the strength of the trap. Okay. And then we have the trap reset timer, which is the one that we use when the trap goes off. So we say 60 seconds. How much time before the trap is enabled again? Okay. All these ones are new for Unreal Engine. So this table actually did not exist, right, in the old game. Okay, I'm happy about that. So we can point to our traps property table. Now that we have it, so we can say that if we go back to if you go back to traps, this is not the traps, whatever, item traps, but is traps, trap properties. Properties table, right? And this traps property table is pointing to this. Okay. Okay, let me save this as well so we have it correct. And so, yes, because the point would be, that I need the only problem I have with this is that this is pointing to what? This is pointing to an item instance. It is a problem though. This thing is pointing to, because, okay, let me try to summarize my thinking. What I want, you know, I want to be able to spawn a chest, but I also want to be able to spawn the content of the chest and if the chest is trapped, right? So I want to be sure that I'm generating that properly. So this is actually the chest type. Wow, that text. This is actually the chest type, and so let's say the item, the type of item that it is, but I also want the chest traps if needed, and the chest, no, let's say before the chest traps, the chest content, and then the chest traps, right? So basically this is what I want to generate from my chest. That is what I want to generate for my chest. Now the chest, so yeah, so I need to be able to I need to be able to generate dynamically those things, right? And at the moment I don't think if I can, because going back to our discussion, unfortunately this one is pointing to the item instance ID, but I think I can load it on the fly, right? I can load it on the fly, so I can trap properties. Why trap properties not loaded? Must be loaded. What the fuck? I didn't do it. You joking? I created a table and then I'm not using it? What do you mean? Oh fuck. Wait a second. No, come on. I remember we tested it. We tested this. No? I think we... I mean, it was some time ago, but yeah, we tested it. 3788. Because it's called traps properties. Fuck. Okay, the name is not correct. Shit. It's called traps, boys, but it's fine. Here I called it right. Okay. It's called traps property. So yeah, read the trap property. So this is done on a specific object on the ground. So I can place an object on the ground and associate to it a trap property that I can do today, because this code we tested and it actually works. The problem is that this is an item that I placed myself, dropping it on the ground. Because it doesn't go by ID, it goes by item instance ID. So an instance is a real live object that you drop. So the problem that we have when we are generating items, right? Because here we are generating this item dynamically. So the ID, the instance ID will always be different. Every time you pick it up and another one respawns, right? The instance ID will always be different. Yeah. So how do we solve it? How do we solve it? Basically, how do we solve it? It's not that easy, because I will have to because you see, I already had the issue with action locations. And so this is why I have two attributes. One is item instance ID, and the other is action location ID. And this one is saying that that particular action location ID is actually trapped, right? In fact, we have is action location, and in case it's reading one field or the other field, right? And I think unfortunately we need a third one then, because I will have to add if is in hunting location, because if it's an hunting location, I will be able to say oh my god, I'm looping on myself a second. There are different cases, okay? So there is the case in which we want this one to be trapped. Yes. When we want this one to be trapped. when we want this one to be trapped. So if we want this one to be trapped, right? Where do I specify this? Because I cannot really specify it in the item stats. I have to put it in instance. Yeah, exactly. So there is a property that actually needs to go in. Yeah, I need to extend that. So if I extend this table, right? If I extend this table, I add another field, and this other field will be hunt location ID. Will be hunt location ID. I will be able to generate a special chest like this one that is reading hunt location ID, because this one is anyway generating only one item, right? Only one item. So in this way, I will be able to generate, I will be able to associate my trap to the chest that is created by hunt location ID. So we will spawn the chest, and as soon as we spawn the chest, we will check if, well, we can even do it by item ID if we want, but we could even do it by item ID. No, the best would be that is the hunt location ID. So I could add a new field called hunt location ID that points to this guy. And so whenever we are spawning the chest into the level, we will check if in that table, in the traps table, there is an there is an hunt location ID specified, and in that case we associate the trap to that object. Okay. Now we cannot randomize the trap, which is a bit annoying, but maybe we can extend it in the future so that the trap complexity can be randomized, maybe. Or we just put a specific hunt location. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a future thinking. So if I do that, this will solve. It will solve this problem, but it will not yet solve this other problem. So the fact that creatures can spawn. Yeah, but I think this one, I don't need it. I don't need a creature to spawn a chest, right? I think a creature will always spawn individual items, will never spawn a chest. I think it's fine. I mean, it could spawn a chest, but and the same for merchants, you know, I don't think that you will buy chests containing items from merchants, so you will just, right? Now, generate events may do it, but it will do it through this mechanism, I guess, right? Or not? Generated event. I think generated event will... I think generated event, because generated event is the same thing, right? So sometimes, I don't know, at midnight on Friday 13, you know, a special chest is spawning here, right? There would be a generated event based on time, and this chest is spawning. So in that case, it cannot really be an ant location. It cannot. It cannot. It needs to spawn an actual item. Now it will spawn an action ID, and I think probably the only way for us to do this for generated events will be to specify the traps property in the XML for the event itself. Yes, I think this is how we're gonna do it. I think this is how we're gonna do it. So actually, for generated event, may spawn chest or spot providing rewards. Let's say in this case we may spawn a chest listed in point 2.1 above, but we will then specify in the XML, in the event XML, the traps properties. I don't think we can point to, unless we have like a timeless model for traps properties in the traps table, so that we can reuse as much as we want. In theory we could. In theory we could point to ant location ID. In theory we could point to ant location ID. Okay, apart from the traps, which is something that I was reasoning now, right? Apart from the traps, one second. Do I want to be able to connect my randomizer, my loot randomizer, right, to the chest? And if yes, I think I want to, because there will be too many chests, you know. There will be too many possibilities, and I think that if we stay with the script, we will have to create a million scripts, and it will be a mess to maintain. While maintaining the loot tables is much easier. Also, they are clearer and easier to maintain. So I think that at the end, yes, we need to be able to associate a loot ID. How do we do that? I think I need it inside ant locations. I think we need it inside ant locations. I don't understand how to do it though. I don't understand how to do it. So, okay, let's say we spawn, we define an ant location that has an item which is actually a chest, right? And it may even be one of the chests that we defined already with item ID. Now, they can have a consume script, and I understand that, or they may have a loot thingy. So do we want to be able to open the chest? Do we want to be able to consume the chest? That's the I think we should remove this consume thingy. I think it's super stupid. I understand we did it for a reason long time ago because it was the only way to do it, but I think consuming a chest makes no sense. I mean, okay, because I have two ways of doing this, right? I have two ways of doing this. I have two ways of doing this. At least two ways of doing this. One way is to, which is probably the simplest, right? Is to keep ant locations the way it is, right? So ant location as an item ID which is equal to a chest, which is equal to a special chest actually, which is one of the ones that have the consume script, right? So a special chest with consume script, right? And this consume script then has all the mass to generate your treasure. And I could, you know, so at the moment the consume script is a full XML defining, item, give item, blah blah blah, give item, blah blah blah, give money, blah blah blah. So that is what it's doing at the moment. I think I need to change this consume script to be able to generate loot, right? So I think that if I have a kind of a loot ID, if I have a loot ID equal to 70, inside my consume script, so I'm able to generate loot, which by the way may become, so we said what? We said the progression script, sorry, we said the consume script are actually is a progression event, yes, which is good because the progression event is the one that has, so I could have inside the progression event, I could have progression events are actually defined in our scripting capabilities. So a progression event can have any of this, right? So it can be right? So it's this page. So so defines a script to be executed with the syntax be executed for syntax C progression events, right? And this progression events is linking to this. Okay, nice. So here we have all the syntax, right? And basically, at the moment, we don't have a way to generate loot. We can generate a single item with the item OP. And item OP, well, it is to do, but in reality, I mean, it's done, it's working, it's here, item actor, blah, 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 right? So So creates an item in the player inventory, and the syntax is, for example, this, or for example, this. Right, and how do I do this? Let me go source. Wait. What the? Okay. Yeah, so that is the thing. So so that is the so we need to extend, you know, the scripting system to allow item loot or loot OP, and loot OP will allow to generate items directly in the item inventory. You know, the only thing that I don't know is if we want to have the possibility to specify if you can pick one item or all items. So if we want to have options, right? We have options in Quest, but we don't have options in loot. So usually when you get the loot, you get everything you find. I think it's okay. I think if you don't want something, you can drop it. I think it would be a bit stupid to have choices in looting, right? Because anyway, standing on the ground is not someone that is giving it to you. Yeah. So we will anyway generate all of it. Now the point is that if I create a loot OP, a loot operation. If I create a loot operation, that loot operation will generate items based on yes. Yeah, so this new operation will be able to generate in your inventory a series of items that you find. Now, I don't know if this will have a pop-up window, but I think it would be nice if we could have a pop-up window, actually. So that you see which item you got, because otherwise it will just generate in your inventory directly. And I think it's not... Maybe it's not the best. Okay, anyway, this will be one way, okay? So this will be one way. This will be the new, so this means, you know, a new scripting OP, a new script operation called whatever, loot OP, right? Loot OP, that is creating items in the player inventory based on the loot rules specified, right? Okay, so that would be one way. I think it's a good way, by the way. I think it's a good way, but this will keep the consume, which at the moment the consume is a bit weird, but is one way. Another way will be to have to actually generate the items inside a chest, right? So instead of going through the consume script, which is defined at the item stats level and then copied into the item instance level, we could have the problem is that I don't know where to place it, because where do I place that information? We don't, I mean, an item cannot have loot. It's an NPC that has loot. An item does not have, you know, an item does not have loot. So, or we add a new field here and we say, hey, there is a container. I mean, we can put it inside flags, but this will be a very special flag, because it will be a flag pointing to a loot ID. I don't know exactly where to place it, because I could put it here, you know, I could have flags, and then I can have loot equals 70, something like that, right? Loot equals 70. So this means that my item stat, so whenever I'm going to generate my item stats, I'm going to check if it's a container, and if it's a container, whenever I'm spawning it, I'm going to randomize the items and put them into the chest. The bad part, I guess the bad part of this, okay, yeah, so the second way would be to add a field to item stats or item instances to flag a container as random loot, right? As containing random random loot. Now, this thing is a This thing has a number of problems though, because you cannot really generate the loot based on the player level. That's a big negative of this solution. It's a big negative of this solution, because basically here in this case the loot will be generated statically, right? So the loot is generated when the container is generated. So basically you will always have the same loot inside the chest standing there and waiting, right? And is not scalable. That is not very nice. While this one, you know, the loot is generated when you consume it. And so allows scaling, because it's only one player, you know. Yeah, I mean you can cheat. Yeah, you can cheat though. You can ask another player, another higher level player to open it. That's a problem. I would say that's a big problem. That's a big problem. That's a major problem. Fuck. Fuck. That's a major problem, boys. That's a major problem. How do we solve this? Okay, because there are two cases. The case where you get the loot from a creature that you killed, right? And in that case, you participate to the loot because you actually helped killing the creature, and the loot is generated based on your level or your ranks, you know, on your overall power. And in that case, it can still be cheated, because you can play with a higher level player and get some of the loot, but at that point, you know, would be pretty much the same as that player killing the creature and then giving you the loot that he gets, you know. So I would say that is fine. But here we have a bit of a different problem. The different problem is that you are inside a dungeon, you find a chest, and instead of opening it yourself, right, you go to another higher level player and you ask him to open it and to give you the content. Considering that we are scaling loot by player power, you will get better stuff, right? Unfortunately. So, or we have a way to bind the chest to the player, so like when you pick it up, you know, only you can open it. Yeah, that would be kind of a way, because otherwise is very cheatable. Otherwise is very cheatable. Basically they will be chest openers as a job, you know. I keep my max level character in the city and I open your chest and and then I give you the loot. Oh my god. We can bind it. I think we can bind it. I think the only solution would be to bind it. So that if you pick it up, right? If you pick it up, you cannot trade it anymore. Yes. Must be bound to player until open to avoid higher level player opening it to gain better loot. Now you can still bring the higher level player with you in the dungeon and ask him to open it, but this starts to be harder, you know? Because it means that he needs to be available at that time when you are going through the dungeon. So, I mean, it's still cheatable, but it requires a bit more effort, right? Instead of, oh, I keep all my chests and then I go around and see who is available. By the way, the problem of asking someone else to open your chest is that maybe it will contain stuff that you cannot use, so... Yeah, but anyway, this one seems to be a better plan, anyway. This one seems to be a better plan. Compared to this plan. Even if this one originally looked like it was the better solution, because we would remove the freaking consume, which is kind of annoying. But I think it's a better decision. Okay. I think it's decided. I think it's decided. I think we do this. Okay, so if we do this, decision taken, we need to add a new operation that doesn't exist today, which is loot OP, right? And loot OP will be a new scriptable operation, similar to item OP. I mean, it's not so different, but obviously it is different. And is inside scripting because it's the one that we are using for progression events. And I'm thinking if we can specify randomize, because we have randomize here. Because this thing can already randomize. The problem is that it cannot loot ID, right? So it cannot have a full loot rule specified. It is a single item. There is a single item. Don't understand too much the randomize though, because randomize and random level. Randomize, random cost. Interesting. I don't understand what random level means, really. What is it? I mean, random cost, I may understand it a bit, but random level, I really don't understand it. What the fuck? So he's reading all this stuff and then he's not using it? No, I don't understand. No, probably he's using it inside of this. Okay. He's probably using it inside of this function. Ah, he's using the same. Okay, okay. He's using the same function that we have in the loot manager. So the random cost and random level, I think, are the two variables that are used in the loot randomizer. Yes. The maximum amount of modifiers to apply. So actually random level is not level, but is number of modifiers. Yes. So I don't know why it's called level, really. I think it's very confusing that it's called level. Because this one then is going within... Yeah, it's going in and is... Let me just check this new modifier. Yeah, it can only be 0, 1, 2, or 3. But this thing seems to be ignored through the code though, because you see that we are overriding, right? We are overriding this completely. Unless we have this loot testing. Unless we have this loot testing to false. I mean to true. But here is false, so this will not do what we want, basically. Because if it's false, this one gets re-randomized and overwritten. So actually, random level is not working. So, okay. So what I need to do, I need to create a new loot thingy, and then I need my loot randomizer to basically I'm just trying to understand where in the code I need to put this. Spawn item inventory. No, it's not here. Create single loot. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So this is the function we need to call. So it will be very easy to do at the end. It will be very easy because we are... But this one is creating it on a dead body. This one is creating it on a dead body. Fuck. So in our case, it's not a dead body. It's actually a chest. So yeah. So it's a bit of a mess. This. So we will have to create it. Or we recreate a function like this, which is not too bad, by the way. I think we can just copy paste it and recreate it, because this add loot item is not what we want. I don't understand the difference between create single entry and create multiple entry. Create single loot seems to be commented out. So we are only creating multiple loot. I think this create single loot is never called, probably. Yes. Create single loot is GG. It's not used anymore. Okay. So, and create multiple loot is... Yeah, it's using loot entry set, right? So is creating... Yeah, for every entry. So for all the entries that are part of the entry loot set, right? Which is this thing. Now, yeah, I'm just trying to understand who is, but it's cache man for sure. Is cache manager. Cache manager is, or cache manager or spawn manager are creating the. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is the loading. Okay, fine. Yes. So I'm just trying to refresh my memory a bit on this code and what it does. But basically, we already have all the functions that we need. The only problem is that the actual loot is then added to the dead body of the creature that you killed, right? While in our case, we would like to spawn that loot directly into the character inventory. And so we need okay, so we need to, like we said, to add a new loot OP. Right, so if I go under scripting, if I go under scripting and I search my item OP is not here. No, because I think it's declared only inside scripting. Okay, declared only inside scripting. I don't know exactly why, but that's the way it is. It's declared only inside scripting. So we will have to basically we will have to basically copy paste this whole thing and then modify it a lot. Oh my god, do we want to copy paste all this mess, or can I? Yeah, maybe I have to. Okay, let me try to copy paste this monster and then we're gonna change it. But this one will become a loot OP. I don't know if I want to call it loot or if I want to call it loot set, because it's actually a group of or loot rule or loot set. Maybe loot set will probably be better. So this one is basically based on a loot rule ID, generates all the items needed and add those into the player inventory. Okay, so that is the thing. Now the syntax will be, I think will just be loot or loot set. Let's call it loot set. Maybe it's more clear. Aim is fine. Name I don't know. Name what? Name I don't think we care. Location or ground. Inventory or ground. That is interesting though. We could generate it also on the ground if we want. Huh? I think we can keep inventory or ground. Why not? If possible. I don't know if it's possible, but it would be nice. We don't need any of this. Okay, so this will be our loot set OP, and it will be an imperative aim because you can specify a target. So I think that's okay. I don't understand too much the name. Like, we don't have a name of an item, we have an ID, right? So in this case was a name of the, exactly, this was the name of the item. In our case it's the ID. So instead of name, there should be ID, right? For example, I don't know, 70. And so this will be loot ID. I think we can call it loot ID, maybe it's clearer. Loot ID, let's call it loot ID. So this will be loot ID. And we don't need randomize because we will define it based on that. All of this I think is totally useless because we will do it directly. So I think there was a get attribute as int, no? Wait, wasn't there a get attribute from int? No, that's the no, my bad. That's the that's completely another thing. Okay. So we should do what? This? Yes. And now count, I think it makes no sense. So we can delete it. Count for us make no sense. The location, let's try to keep the location. I think let's see if, yeah. Let's try to keep the location. The randomize, useless. The random cost, random level, item quality. No, all this is completely useless to us. All this is completely useless. So we have no other options except so loot ID should not be 0, and we should be able to load that node. Right. Now, when we execute it, so that's the loading. Loading, we are just loading the location and we are loading the loot ID and nothing else. Now, when we execute it, we go, we need to be sure that the aim is actually correct. I just need to be sure that I can actually specify it in my script though, because but I think we can, right? Because in the same way treasure chest, you know, was specifying aim actor, so aim actor will be ourselves, so I think it should be okay. We will go aim actor and I think we'll be fine. So we'll be aim actor like all the time. But I think it's still important because we need to pass it through the scripting mechanism. So I think this is okay. We are just trying to get the character. If we don't find the character, we say error while executing loot set op script with loot rule ID, and we can put here the loot ID, right? Invalid target character, I don't know. But okay, yeah, so that the aim is not okay, fine. The aim is not the aim. This count is not needed. All these variables at the moment we are not using. Now here is where the stuff is starting. So there is this place on ground that we will have to pass to our function. I think this also is totally useless. This is completely useless. We're not going to create money here. We are going to create whatever the loot randomizer is asking us to do. Okay, so here basically we have two cases: place on ground or not, right? And now this create item. So now we need to do the same thing that we do when we kill a monster and we get the randomization. So is basically randomizer set. So is get loot category. Exactly. This one will be our loot ID. This one will be our loot ID. So what we do, we go in spawn manager and we find the loot entry set corresponding to our loot ID. So this is exactly what we need to do. And if that's true, now the only problem is this object, right? The only problem is this object because this will add to the NPC. So I think we need to change this function, basically. We need to change this function at another parameter, which is player or something like that. And then we can call exactly this thing inside loot entry set. The only thing that we need to find the right loot entry set based on the loot ID. So if spawn manager doesn't know it already, we need a function. We need a function to do that. Hello, who joined? Hello, offline rocker. Thank you for the follow and welcome. If you have any questions on what I'm doing, please. We are actually working on loot, loot and chest. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get a better. I'm trying to create a better system for our chest to be, to generate the random content, right, inside the chest. So we have some new chests, by the way, that were not present in the old game, like for example this one, right? And or this one. I think that one, the other one I didn't. No, this one is the same as this one. It's just the one is closed, the other is open, but it's the same one actually. Well, slightly different. Yeah, slightly different. But yeah, the point is to have this chest, you know, in the game, with, and this one as well, with random generated loot, right? So that we can make our dungeons a bit more interesting, right? So that it's not fixed loot, or you know, so that is more random generated and such. So I'm trying, so yeah, this is what I'm doing. So basically what I need spawn manager to be able to return, right? To return the loot ID based, the entry set based on the loot ID. I don't know if he's doing it already, but let me see. Rules for generating loot, loot entry set loot. Spawn rule. Because here we are inside a spawn rule though. No, we are not. No, we are not. Looting should be get loot rules. Loot entry set. Wait. Spawn manager looting. Yes, looting is the T map that. Okay. Do we have... no, I think we don't have it yet, boys. We don't have it. We can create it. So I need a new function which is get loot entry set by ID, right? And this will return my loot entry set, and it will take just a loot ID as a parameter, and will be as simple as looting find ref, you know, exactly what we do here, right? So we want to return this. It's just because that thing is protected, so. Okay, so I hope he allows me to do it. Doesn't like it too much, I don't know why. But it should be fine. So now that we have this, that we have this get loot entry set, which is actually right, so now in theory here in our scripting, what we need to do, we need to call spawn manager and get our loot entry set, right? Spawn manager is anyway global, so it's fairly easy. And how did I call it? I called it loot ID, yes. So this one is going to return a loot entry set. And now with this one, we can do the same. Now, we need to change this function though, because this create loot is not good anymore. Right? Because this one doesn't know that we want to create it for a player. And so we want to create it in his inventory. So I think we need what? I don't know if I want to create another function, or if I want to... Do we want to create another function, or do we want to add a parameter to this one and say this one is used for the character inventory instead of the... Because I will have to add the parameter here. The idea behind this code is that if you have a total probability that's less than 1, then the item listed are mutually exclusive. If you have a total is greater than 1, then the server rolls the probability on each item. This disables the possibility to have items with low chances that are not mutually exclusive. What? We have to change this by using an additional field to identify the item as mutually so for then it's commented out. Holy shit. So it was a great idea, but it was never used. Okay. You know what? You're just gonna kill this thing. And we're gonna kill this thing as well, I guess. Or let me do this, maybe. Let me do this. I mean, I don't want to have code anyways not used because it's just, you know, kind of useless. So we will just use create multiple loot instead of create loot, and but the question anyway, apart from this, the question is, do we want to use the same function? Because this will be basically all identical. The only difference will be at this level, when we are adding the loot item. So this function will have to be changed, right? So that instead of putting it into pending loot, it will go directly into the inventory of the character. So I think there is a lot of code that is in common. So I think it's probably a better idea, right? To put it here directly with a parameter. It will be for loot item and it will be for loot money. Yeah, we should add a parameter. I think we should add a parameter on this thing. Let me remove this one as well. I think we are gonna use only create multiple loot. I don't want to. Create multiple loot is inaccessible. Meh. Okay, so basically here we need to add a new parameter, and the parameter will be if we want to have it in inventory directly, right? Or let's say direct, I don't know how to call it, but basically will be like direct mode, so that it is just getting generated. No matter what, it's just getting generated. So how do we then how do we then put it on the ground if we want to put it on the ground? That's not possible, because this thing is not considering the ground location. Yeah. But anyway, let's do one step at a time, okay? So I think we can say, or we call it inventory mode or whatever. Or we have maybe an enumeration where we say mode. You know, I think it would be nice to have an enumeration. And and call it like inventory, ground, or loot. Inventory, ground, or loot. Inventory, ground, or loot. Yeah, why not? I think we may reuse it in the future. So if I do a new class and I call it loot mode, right? And we put something like I don't know if I want to call it pending loot. Pending loot like is added to the monster. And then inventory, which goes directly into his inventory, and ground, which goes directly to the ground. I don't know, something like that. Something like that. So we can have a loot mode, and we can call it loot mode. And probably this would be a bit. Now the default should be pending loot. So we don't have to change the. Well, I think we will have probably to change the previous code anyway, but I need to exit from the editor because soon I will have to recompile. Dude, there's a gameplay video anywhere? I'm curious what you have done so far. Yeah, there is a lot of gameplay videos. I mean, you can just you can just look at our. I don't know if you go. What is the best one? We published the trailer, I guess. There should be a trailer somewhere that we published for Unreal, but also if you look at any of the previous videos, there are yeah, but that's a good point. If you want to see gameplay, well, the easiest way to see gameplay is to become a Patreon and try the game yourself. That's the easiest. But yes, if you look at my previous videos, you know, there are definitely some. Sometimes I launch the game and I test stuff in the game, so. Did I declare the enumeration wrong? Probably. Why I didn't like it? Because he wants it this way, not with the thing, but with the thing. Okay. Fine. Okay, I think you may like it more now. Indie MMO. I don't know how many indie MMO you know. It's interesting that you have a category which is indie MMO, but I mean, I don't know how many indie MMO actually exist, you know, apart from us. Loot entry set we need to include, Loot entry, what do you mean you need to include? It's in the same class, it's in Spawn Manager. It's declared in Spawn Manager, no? Yes. Class loot entry set. Why don't like it? Okay, so we're gonna add that, and now we're gonna add this. Right. And we are going to, so now based on loot mode, so based on loot mode, why are still complaining about loot ID? That is like, I changed it 5 minutes ago. Yeah, so if it's not loot testing, do this. Otherwise, you just print in the stats. Okay, that's fine. But basically here, but basically here, based on the loot mode, right, we will have different things to do. So if the loot mode is equal to loot mode pending loot, we do exactly what we were doing before, right? If if loot mode is equal to inventory or ground, right? For now, let's do inventory, because ground, I don't know if I will ever do it. Probably not, but let's do inventory. So if we do inventory, which is the one that we want now, then what we want this thing to do? We want this thing to do the same thing that we are doing for item, right? So we want to do the same thing that we do in item OP. In item OP, yeah, so basically when we create the item, right? With the difference that here, so the item is already generated, is this one, is a PS item is already generated. So it's like if here we have, yes, exactly, we have this guy already, right? The stack count will always be 1. No, I mean, sorry. No, the stack count will be maybe different, but it's already generated by our random generator. So here we get already the right stack count, right? Okay. So it's as simple as this, hopefully. So is... Yeah, if his money is a bit different though, huh? But the money, I think we have it here at the bottom. Yes. So, okay. And if it is ground, okay, if it is ground, we only do this, which is good. Okay. No. 1 second. Nom 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 nom. So, okay. In theory, should be as simple as this. In theory. And I don't know when. I don't know when we will use this drop item to the ground, but I don't know. Since it was there, you know, decided to keep it. Why not? Why not, boys? You are actually very silent today, but that's okay. If you want to ask any question, you can ask. I think the best video, well, not the best video, but one video of gameplay that you can find is just on our YouTube channel, and I think there is a bit of I don't know if the trailer is there, but a brief trailer. Yeah, there is this one that was done 5 months ago. If you want to see it, it is this one, and there is I think that is the main one. If you are a... No? There should be something in the home page, but I don't see. Maybe you see. There should be a video that is like the default video, which is speaking about the latest release, one of the latest releases. Now it may be pretty old. Yeah, there is this one which is pretty old. I think the trailer is probably the best one that you can look at. That's probably the easiest. I think that trailer is probably the easiest. Okay, so if we do this, now the other problem is the money. Yeah, this one I will have to obviously redo. I will have to redo because this will be this will be as simple as calling, wait, fuck, wait, this will be Yes. Wait, so now here we will have our character. Then if he's pending, if he's placed on ground, we will have, if placed on ground is true, we will go with loot mode, ground. Otherwise we will go with loot mode inventory, and the new modifiers we don't specify it. Okay, so I think that this will now loot ID is missing specified loot rule ID in character. Now, well, in this case we should give an error like we can give an error like loot rule blah 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 specified in loot set OP is not valid. Now, yeah, we don't have a name, we don't have anything else, so it's just loot ID. Okay. Okay. Okay, boys. So, yes, create item in our loot set is totally useless, so we can absolutely remove it. I mean, I copied a bunch of stuff, but in reality, we didn't need any of it. I just copied to follow the logic, but we didn't really need all of that, so... The only thing we needed, I mean, was this. Okay. So now, I don't know if this is gonna work already, but the idea is that we can generate and create, yeah, it said succeeded, but I didn't fix the part where we have the money. I fixed the part where we have the I don't know if we can drop the money to the ground, but I assume yes. I assume it's the same, so... So I have to do something like... So I need to see here what we do for item OP, right? Because item OP can spawn money as well. And so we had a special case in which it was money. And a special case money. So character money plus money equal money. Okay. Now... So our character, so we get the money, we get the actual money, and we add on top this new money, and then we set the money to the cash. So this should give you the extra money that we got from the that you got from the chest in theory. And then if it's dropped to the ground, if it's dropped to the ground, I don't know. We just use drop item. No, but this is not gonna work though, wait. Wow. I had to sneeze. No, the point is, okay, dropping money to the ground, it seems to be a bit of a special case. At the moment, I don't want to manage it, okay? So drop money to the ground will be to be done, okay? So I don't know how to do it at the moment. I will have to create, I think it's still possible, but we will have to create a specific item which is made of tria. Made of tria with a stack count, but I don't care about it now. I think it's a very special case, and at the moment we are not gonna use it. Okay. So in theory, this should do what we want to do. He's saying succeeded, so okay. So basically what we did, we added a new loot capability, right? Okay, so now we need to test it. So to test it is not that easy, but to test it we need one of the chests. We need a consumable chest, right? Yes, like this, exactly like this one. Yes. And you know what? I think I'm gonna copy another one. I'm gonna copy because I want to have two examples. I want to have one example that is working in the old way, and one example that is working in the new way. Okay. Okay. So now we should have two items. Yes, the crate, the hardened crate and the adorned crate. Now, the hardened crate will point to treasure chest. Yes, and this one will point to treasure chest, I don't know, 2 or something. Treasure chest 2. So treasure chest, I will leave it as it is, but treasure chest 2 will be a new progression event. And I mean, it would be super easy actually, because so we will say yes, script and script, but then we will do directly. So we'll do script, and then we will do right, our so we called it loot set, right? We called it sorry, there is a piece that is missing though, because yes, we have this guy now, but we didn't declare it anywhere, so it's obviously not gonna work. But so we gonna call it loot, and instead of name, it will have a loot ID, and the loot ID will be, for example, 70. Assuming that I have a loot rule ID in my loot rules. We only have 2 loot rules here in the sample table. Okay, loot rule ID 1 seems to be complex enough. Yes, also because we have randomization going on. Okay, so loot rule 1 is perfect. So loot rule 1, location inventory, count doesn't exist anymore. And that's it. So this will be the script. What the fuck? Okay, this will be treasure chest 2, right? Now we need to associate this. So we associated treasure chest 2 to that guy. Now we need to be sure that this new loot thingy is actually red, because at the moment I think it's not. I will put it here. Okay. And then I don't know if I need to do anything else, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. So this is just saying that when he finds a new operation in the scripting, that is named loot, it will call loot set op to actually load the XML, okay? And the XML that you will see is this one, which is very simple at the moment, right? Now, what we need to do, we need to associate our chest, apart from recompiling, but we need to associate our chest to we need to associate. Let me think about it. We need to associate our chest to a hunt location, right? Yes, that is what we said. So I need to know my chest ID, which is 7080 or 7081. In this case, 7081 because it's new, is using the new script. Hunt location. Okay, we have one here, which is 7080. I don't know where is it. I think yes, I think is in the dungeon. I think this location is in the dungeon most likely. 53274. Let me see, but yeah, I think it's in the dungeon. Teleport locations. Yes, it's in the dungeon. Okay. It's actually at the end of the cave. Okay, nice. So we will go 7081. Okay. Uh, 7081 now. We want to have it locked. Okay. I don't know why locked, but fine. So I need the dungeon though. I need the new vault area. I don't think I have it in my maps at the moment. No. Or yes, is this one? No, it's not this one. Fuck, I don't remember the name though. I don't remember the name. Wait. I think it's this one, 0704. Yeah, 0704. I think I should rename it, but 0704. Okay, so now we have it. So I don't know exactly what will happen, but we will see. I think there may be already an item. Maybe I can delete it. There may be already an item on the ground of the previous chest. So probably it's better to delete it so that we are not messing up with the other item. If I go under item instance and I select item equal to 7080. Holy shit. Uh-oh. We have 1 million of items in the same location, boys. It is a problem, huh? It means that the check for already existing doesn't work. Holy shit. That's a problem. In theory, it should generate one chest, and only when you pick it up, it should kick off a timer that is going to regenerate it after some time, right? But in theory, it should never happen that you have 1000 chests, one on top of the other. But it is what we have, so we have 1,000,000 chests, one on top of each other. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to delete them all, but then we need to understand why, huh? Because it seems to be a bug. It seems to be a bug. I'm deleting them all. Okay, let's launch the server and see what happens. Okay. We just need to wait the server to go up. It will take a bit of time because now we need to load a few maps. Yeah, it's loading the main city. It's loading on the server side. Ah, wait. I need to be sure that we are spawning items, otherwise it's useless, huh? Repopulate items must be true. Otherwise, it's kind of useless, but maybe we spawn it now, so it can still be fine. Okay, let's connect and see. We will have to teleport here at the end of the cave. It's gonna be slow because it's the first time I load it today, so it's kind of slow. Okay, let's go to the cave. Okay, so here we are in the cave, and this is the example chest. Now, it's a bit floating, but it's the same. Okay, so this is already the new one, eh? So he already generated a new chest. Yes, it did. Now, if I pick it up, I think I will not be able to use it because it's locked, right? Exactly. So actually, I need to drop it to the ground and try to unlock it. The progress bar is this one you see on the left. But I don't know why I have it locked, but I mean, it's fine. There's really no reason to have it locked, but... Wow, it's so long. I have to... I have to increase my lock picking skills, I guess. How much do I have of lock picking? Probably 0. 0. Fuck. I have 0 lock picking, boys. 0. What about 200? Okay. Should be better. Yeah, because the speed I think is also depending on your lock picking skill. Come on. Yeah, and then we need an animation for lock picking. I don't have it at the moment. We can use the crafting animation, but... I think I will fail. But let's see. Okay, we unlocked it. Nice. Good, 1 experience point. Okay, so now if I look into it, I cannot really look into it, but I can now pick it up, and now I can use it, right? If I use it, we will execute the code that we just created today. So unfortunately I have a lot of stuff here, but... I got a new inventory, but no event found. No event found for consume script treasure chest 2. What the fuck? Really? No event found for consume treasure chest 2. Okay, maybe I put it on the wrong database. Yes, I put it on the wrong database. Fuck. Okay, sorry. I put it on the production database, this one, and not in the Yeah, this error in theory should never happen, but it happened. Oh, you see that it spawned another one meanwhile. Which is nice. Okay, unfortunately I need to kill the server because he needs to reload all the scripts. So I will relaunch it now. Okay, streaming levels. Okay, now it's ready. You see how quick it is the second time. When all the caches. Okay, so I have a bit too much stuff in my inventory, so maybe I can drop some, but I have like a table. I don't know why I have all this stuff, but I have a torn falchion of purity. Okay, I freed some space here at the beginning. Hopefully we'll use the one at the beginning. Let me see if we can unlock it in a bit of a shorter time. Well, kind of. My lockpicking is still 0. Fuck. Fuck. Why didn't save it? Because I closed the server without quitting properly. I don't know. But definitely we have a generation of. I don't even know what happens if I like pick it up or. I think if I pick it up while lock picking, the server will probably crash. Let's see. It is a good test anyway. Also, in theory, if you move away, you know, from the zone where you are lock picking, it should. It should stop. I'm waiting this bar to finish. No, the server didn't crash, but it's taking too much time. Fuck. Why the time of lock picking is so insane? Wait a second. Let me change it because otherwise we're just waiting time, you know. So the calculation for lock picking time should be under, I don't know, math script. Let me say where name like lock. Calculate lock picking time. Time is equal to the lock quality divided by 10 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 1000. Holy shit. So if the lock quality is 50, right, will be 50 divided by 10, so 5 multiplied by 3, 15 multiplied by 1000 milliseconds. So in theory it should be 15 seconds. Probably this lock quality is higher. I think I will remove the multiply by 3. At least this should be slightly faster. But anyway, it's nearly finished. I think it's definitely more than 15. Okay, we unlocked it. Why? Nothing happened. I don't know. I think we need to debug it. I don't see any items in my. I don't see any new items in my inventory. But in theory, we should. So I think we need to debug it because it's not visible what it's doing. Also because I think we didn't print out anything, so we don't have any printout of any kind. So we're just executing this, but we are not. Okay, so let's see if it works. So we will run the server in debug mode. And what we want to see this thing getting loaded, right? Getting loaded properly. And then we want to see the run. And then we want to see Okay, so he's loading it now. Wait. Wait. We want to see this piece actually. That's the piece we want to see. Okay, so we get our loot ID, which is 1. We get our location, which is inventory. And place on ground becomes false. And we return loot ID different than 0. And that, so actually the script gets loaded. And so, yeah, so the script was loaded properly. Okay. Now we are gonna see if it's getting executed as well. Yeah, I was expecting some debugging anyway. Okay, now it's definitely faster. It's like 10 seconds now. Yeah, it's becoming darker. So, okay, we pick up this one. We don't care about this breakpoint. So we pick up that and we have it in our inventory. Now we don't need this as well. Fine. Now that we have it in our inventory. Wait. Oh fuck. Something bad happened. No, I failed at lockpicking. Fuck. What do you mean I failed? Okay, let's try again. Because I have only... Okay. Okay, now it's unlocked. So if I use it, yeah, you see, we arrive here. Okay, so what do we want to see? We want to see if this is... Ah, fuck, I fucked up. Okay, sorry, I fucked up. I fucked up in the code, boys. Okay. I fucked up in the code. This place on ground should not be there. So I was basically doing nothing. Because we moved the place on ground inside of this, right? So it's not needed anymore. Okay, let me recompile. If you move, it should be interrupted. Yeah, exactly. He's not doing it. He's not doing it now. I don't know why, but he should. We also need an animation. We also need an animation for lockpicking. I don't know why it's not getting interrupted, but I never checked that code in Unreal, so that's probably why. That's probably why. Okay. So basically this will allow an easier setting of loot chest, right? So it will be a bit easier to generate loot chests that have meaningful loot, because we can specify easily any item, any quantity, and just associate with the script ID. So it's much easier than what we were doing before. Now we can still use the old method if we want, but I don't know why the skill that I set on the fly is not getting stored into the database, but fine. Okay. So let me see if we get our entry loot. Yes. Okay, let's see something. Let me see if something happened now. Ah, yes, we got 3 falcons actually. One of which is randomized. Okay, nice. So, yeah, it basically worked. It basically worked. It is very nice. So let me just double check the rules, so to be sure that the rule has been respected, but I think they are. So rule number 1 is saying that we have item number 6, 7, and 8 getting generated, right? 6, 7, and 8 getting generated. So 6 is a gold falcon, and steel falcon, right? So these are 6, 7, and 8 are the 3 that have been generated. The chance of generation, the probability is 0.9085085. In our case, we got all 3, which is great. And maybe we also got some money. I don't know, because I didn't see. I didn't see 1167. We can try again and see. I think it would be nice if it's just printing what you got, though, because at the moment it's not telling you, you know, what you got. I mean, you have to figure it out from looking at the inventory, right? But maybe not so good. But anyway, one of the items, which is actually number 7, is actually randomized, and number 7 is the basic falcon, and we got lucky because we got a randomization of I know, because the randomized probability is 1, so it's very likely to be randomized, and we got the falcon of purity. Okay, so it's working well, I would say. It's working well. It's working well. The only thing that I would like to add, the fact that we what the fuck? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh. Fuck. It was too good, eh? That he worked at the first... I think we got an invalid item. How is it possible we got an invalid item, though? Wait, there is something. Now, what was very strange is that we got the items properly in my inventory, right? And I saw them in my inventory, but then when I dropped one to the ground, and I dropped the other to the ground, both of them were gold falcons, while in theory should not have been that way. So, I'm wondering why. maybe we need to save the item after putting into the inventory, but I was thinking that this would be done automatically for me, right? So I don't know why I need to. Do you think I need to? I mean, it seems it was generated okay, but then fucked up completely the rest. Nah, I was so happy it was working already. I was so happy it was working. Stop the server 1 second. Oh my God. Okay, I cannot do anything. Okay, no. No, because here, okay, so let me just check what it's doing, right? So it's instantiating a basic item. And it's generating the PS item. Now, I think that the problem is that maybe this item is not yet fully... Okay, let me check item OP. Because I think we have a problem. It's not doing what we want, unfortunately. I mean, it's doing it, but partially. PS item instance. I don't know if he's saving it. Get basic item stats by name, right? So this is the same thing that we are doing. That's the same thing that we are doing. Wait, I'm not really sure. Wait a second. So here we are instantiating the item stats. And then from the item stats, we are instantiating the basic item. Right? Then we are using this thing. And then set loaded. I think we don't have this guy. I think we don't have this set loaded probably. And it's probably what is making it not persist. I think that's our problem at the moment. So wait a second. So let's go to my... create multiple loot. Item entries. This is a PS item stats. Okay, instant shade basic item. So we arrive up to here. We randomize in the same way. Yes, I think the difference is that we don't set the loading to done. Yeah, that's probably the problem. I hope, because otherwise I don't know what to do. So I think in both cases, in both cases, we need to do this on the loot item. Because basically that generated an impossible thing where my item was not really loaded in the inventory the proper way. Let me see what this set loaded is doing. It's just saying loaded through. It's doing nothing else. Strange, huh? Okay, let's try again. I hope it's that, but because there is some logic for loaded items, not loaded items, so I think we generated kind of a ghost item without that, but the thing that is very strange is that I got 2 times the gold falcon. That's there seems to be something else. Okay. So my inventory is clean, so those items have actually not been persisted somehow, right? This time I got only one item. Now the question is this item now good or not? I think it's not. I think it is. Okay. Yeah, because we already had 6 falcons. Let me clean up a bit my inventory maybe. Let me modify target remove. So let me clean up a bit of this mess that I have in my inventory. I have tables, I have a bunch of useless stuff, but this time it seems it worked better, eh? Okay. So let me try again. The server didn't crash, and actually we got the item in the inventory. We could drop it and pick it up again, so it seems better. Okay, we got 3 items. First thing I want to do, I want to move it from one slot to another slot and see what happens. Okay, it seems to be fine. Now I want to drop it. Now I want to drop this one. Now I want to drop this one. Yeah, it seems to be working now. It was missing that statement. Okay. Yeah, this one went here because I already had other falcons. It didn't randomize it though, right? But okay, it seems to be working fine, which is good. Okay, so basically now, you know, the good thing of this is that if I want to change the loot of this chest, you know, I can do it directly through the loot rules. Right, and it's so much easier. You have no idea how much. is so much easier than before. Because before we had to go here and modify this mega script, you know, this mega script that was, you know, providing. Now the only thing that I think we miss is the fact that you are receiving that. I think it would be nice if you get a message when you are receiving stuff, right? It would be nice to receive a message of what you received. I think should not be too hard to do, because you know, when we are in inventory mode, which is this, we can. By the way, did we get any money? Yes, we got some money as well. So I think we can say something like, you know, you received, I don't know if you want to say you received, but yeah, something like you received blah 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 blah, right? So this message will be a character receive system message, I guess. It will be a character receive system message with type. Yeah, we will have to create the string though, because this will be so it will be a new message, and the new message will be, wait, copy pasting is always quicker than thinking, somehow. Okay, this. Okay, so we need to say something like you received percentage s, right? And percentage s will be our loot item name. Our loot item, I don't know if we have a get name directly, or we need to go, I think it's get item name or get name. I don't think it's get name. Okay, get name, I think it works. Is get name the display name, or wait a second, get name, we have it, but I don't know if get display. No, get name is good. Get name is good. Okay, so it will tell you this, and message will be info, right? Now when you receive money, I think it should tell you the same. You received, and here we can say percentage day money or tria. And it is just an integer, so it's a bit easier. Okay, let's try like that, and we should get the information of what we received. Now this system, I don't know if I really like it. I mean, it's already an improvement compared to what we had, but I don't know if I really like it, because you have to basically pick up the chest, put it down, unlock it, pick it up again, right? Because you cannot unlock something that is in your inventory. Maybe that's what we need to fix. But I think it's already an improvement. I think it's already a good improvement anyway. It will allow us to create. Now, if I go back to my If I go back to my documentation, right? So assuming that that works, I will have to expand a progression event, adding the loot OP, which at the moment doesn't exist. And I will have to add, so I will basically have to copy this. Call it loot set OP, and I will have to say, I think I have it in the code. Now, because documentation is always, you know, very important. Otherwise, the next time we don't remember, right? No, sorry, it was there. So documentation is basically this. So based on the loot set, we generate all the item needed in order to the player inventory. Yes. So the syntax is something like that. Player inventory or drops to the ground. So obviously loot rule ID. So let's say that loot ID corresponds to an entry into loot rules, right? So this one points to a loot rules table. Okay. And it's actually not loot set, it's actually loot. I called it loot at the end, I don't know why. Maybe it was better to call it loot set, but I don't think we have any. I don't think we have another one that is the same, so I should be fine. Okay, let me test if it works now. The server should be up. Now we should see also the printouts that are telling us what we received, right, from the chest. Hopefully. In theory, I can unlock it even if I'm. I did it in time. Okay, so because in theory I can look at it, but until it's in my inventory, I cannot open it, right? Yes. You received Steel Falcon, you received 03. 03, maybe if it's 0, maybe you should not tell me 0. So I think that only if money is greater than 0, then we're gonna print out something. Otherwise, it'd be stupid. So let's say that if and money is greater than 0, right? Otherwise, it makes little sense. But yes, he told me what I got, which is good. Pam, pam, pam. Yes. Steel Falcon, and Gold Falcon. Now, yeah. Okay, and 20 money. Okay, good. I think it's working fine. It's still saying 0 because it's the previous set, but Okay, nice. It's working. It's working. I'm very happy about it. So we have a completely new way, you know, an easier way to provide loot on chest. That is very cool. This is something I wanted to do since quite some time, and so now, you know, I can use this system. I can use this system also in generated events because everything is connected, you know, everything is linked. Let me do another change. Configuration. So yeah, I think this description is good anyway. But I can add maybe a bit more. I can say it's pointed to a progression event. This can be the legacy. I will call it legacy because treasure chest script. Looking at base player rewarding price accordingly. Or it can be a new script using, you know, the loot set OP, loot set OP, which points to loot rule, right? And it is very nice now because it's the same as this. And this should be pointing to progression events, yes. Okay, nice. Okay, good. Guys, I think I did all I wanted to do today. Hello, Shantano. Thank you for the subscription. And I think this is all I wanted to do today. Also, I'm about to go to dinner very soon. So I think I'm going to close the stream here. But we made good progress. We completed the what I wanted. I mean, we documented loot a bit better. We created a way for loot chests to generate loot in a simpler way. And now the question would be... yeah, we just need to populate better our dungeons with this new system. That's basically what we need to do. And then generate have generated events, right, that are populating, they're also using this new system. Yes, I think is what I'm gonna do. Yes, I think that next week meaning tomorrow. Tomorrow, what I'm gonna do, I will create chests, a number of chests to distribute in many different places of the world with the new system. I think there are already quite a bit, but I think we can have a bit more mainly in our dungeons and things. So, okay. So guys, thank you for watching. If you want to click on follow on Twitch, will be nice and is also free. And if you want to click on subscribe on YouTube, will also be good. I would like to reach 1,000 subscribers if possible on YouTube, so we can start to monetize stuff. It's not super important, but I think it's nice. And also, if you want to do a bit more, you can go in our Patreon, right? Which is patreon.com/planeshift. And you can get access to the alpha of the game and some videos that I'm posting. Like recently I posted all the new faction symbols and something you may want to see. And you also get a tag in our Discord where you are tagged as a supporter for the game. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Bye bye. Bye bye.